All right, so Bungie just dropped another trailer for Season 2, and it gave us a lot of new information about what we're going to be running into in Season 2, which is titled Nightfall. It looks crazy. I don't want to be too cliche about it, but they really cooked with this. And it's great to see that they're really leaning into the horror elements that they maybe didn't lean too much into in Season 1. And even just from watching like 30 seconds of this trailer, it's already got a different vibe than Season 1. So today I just wanted to go through the trailer, talk about what I saw, and speculate a little bit about what we are going to be dropping into when we queue into Raid on June 2nd. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing I noticed about this trailer is that it's a lot more subdued than anything we saw for the release and for Season 1 for that matter. The soundtrack is really quiet, and it's almost like there's almost like no music, which I can appreciate because it just gives it a more creepy atmosphere or vibe. It's got, it's just got a way different feel. It's just something that I find so interesting about Bungie's games, especially when they do trailers like this and they're really well thought out and there's a lot of production value behind them. They just do a good job of conveying what players can expect for a new season. The same thing was true for Destiny 2. And I think this one nailed it. If this is all we get for Season 2, then I'm happy. I'm hyped and I'm all in. Of course, we see a lot of the new shell that's called Sentinel. That's like front and center this entire trailer, really. Now, we don't know what Sentinel will do, what its abilities are. Now, there's a moment in the trailer that is just like insanely cool, and it's where this like red flare shoots across the forest and it lights up the trees and it lands on the ground, and you can see a figure standing there. It almost looks like Vandal, like it's got the spiky hair, and then it has like tentacles. Then it just starts to, it has like messed up arms and stuff. We don't know what this is. There is speculation that I've seen online where it's like going to be an introduction of a new enemy type, which I think is probably fair, but that the enemy type is like based on this fungal enemy type that was from the original Marathon games. A lot of the later New Caloric Contract lore, if you play through them, it heavily alluded to the colonists being taken over by the fungus that you see growing around the various maps, because it clearly is Vandal's runner shell. Maybe the anomaly is doing something to the shells. Maybe the shells are becoming infected. It's very clear from the lore that whatever the fungus is, it can interface with electronics, and that's definitely something that can happen to AI. Like, the lore has made it very clear that one of the colony's original AI, believe Darius, was heavily affected by the fungus, if not completely taken over by it. So we did see that first enemy, right? The one that looked like Vandal, but then there's also this other one that's down the length of a hallway. I'll have a clip of it here. It almost looks like it's invisible. I don't think that's going to be a good time. Another thing I noticed was this new weapon that Sentinel is holding. It looks to be a submachine gun. It sounds like it's silenced when it shoots, and it's tough with the guns in Marathon. Like, a lot of the time they look like they could be modifications of other guns. Like, if you go and look through each weapon, you can see just by their design that they are like expansions of each. I know it sounds like crazy, but just bear with me here. What I'm saying is it could be a modified version of another gun that we already have. So potentially the CE, I think that could be, it could just be like a full auto version of that's silenced. A lot of unanswered questions there. The other thing that I'm wondering too is, will we actually get flashlights? Because one thing that I'm noticing in the trailer is everybody has flashlights. So is that going to be like an attachment that we can find? Is that just going to be something we get? If we go in with just our, base weapons, are we not going to be able to see anything? That would be pretty fun, but I'm weird like that. It's so interesting to see how these enemies are being portrayed here. like almost as if they're pack hunting, like there's multiple coming after you. That seems absolutely terrifying. There is speculation about this new enemy type, right? Could it be the fungus? Could it be, the anomaly? Could it be the colonists that we're seeing come back? Could it be the shells of older runners coming back? And I think the essentially last frame of the trailer, to me, confirms that what we're being attacked by is reanimated runners and their shells. Just because, like I said, in the last frame, a foot kind of steps over a dead body in the water and then its visor flickers to life. So that's just, again, speculation, but I think that it would be really cool if we got some sort of extremely fast zombie type enemy. Another thing that Bungie has stated about Season 2 of Marathon is that story-wise, the UESC is going to be ramping up its operations on Tau Ceti in response to us runners just going around and kind of doing whatever we want and pillaging the planet. So along with this new enemy on Dire Marsh, the night version of Dire Marsh, I'm thinking we're going to see at least a couple new UESC troops, robots. I think there is a possibility we see new bosses. It would be kind of strange if Bungie didn't add new bosses, especially to the new map. And that's kind of like it. I think there are alternate trailers out on different platforms that I've seen, and there were a few other weapons that were teased in those. One of them looks like a modified CE pistol. I'm thinking that's going to be at least one new weapon. I also have to shout out this hard cut to Triage just booking it away from this new enemy. It's super funny. There's a shot of a runner gripping. I think that's somebody's going to have to correct me on this, but I think it's a cryo archive key. I actually don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. I mean, maybe it's a new item. Yeah, I actually don't know. Somebody in the comments might be able to tell me what that is. But if it's not something that's already in the game, I'm assuming that is something that's going to be very important to the new map mechanics. Like, who knows? There's just so much. I'm super hyped for this. I'm already on board for Marathon just as a game. You can tell by the other videos I've made on this channel. But I think Bungie is starting to show their true prowess here in this next update. So maybe I'll be proven wrong. Like maybe this will just be like the season will be essentially the same as season 1 with just a new map. I hope that what we do get is actually something substantially different and something that leans more into the cosmic horror that the rest of the Marathon series is very well known for. I think we touched on it with with Cryo Archive. We touched on it with the compiler being the big final boss of season 1. I think we're only starting to scratch the surface of potential for this game. That's all I had for you today. Just some extremely hyped takes from me. I'm so excited for season 2 to start on June 2nd. So hopefully I'll see you in game. Thanks for watching.